All right, everybody, we have made it. It is time for the unveiling of the college football playoff. That intro, we will see what the heck happens. We're going to unveil the rankings around 12:20 Eastern time. Usually how the show works is the first 15-20 minutes, they break down how the format of the bracket is. They also break down what each team is feeling right now, and basically they go over what's happening inside each team's practice facility. Then at 12:20, 12:25, we will see the brackets officially unveiled on ESPN. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. We have emojis in the chat for the teams on the bubble. Obviously, not Indiana. Indiana is going to be the 1 seed. We all know that. But we have the teams on the bubble and the emojis. Here we go. No more looking at chat. All 12 are decided. All right, we'll see. So, guys, vote on that poll. Do you think Bama makes it? Notre Dame, Miami, and more rushing yards than Bama did. That is true. That is true. By the way, last night I asked you guys to unveil your rankings, what you think the playoff will look like. I compiled all the rankings. This is what you guys thought. Who gets the NCAA Peace Prize? This is what you guys thought the rankings would be. I compiled all your votes. Rob with a tour. Bulls, Miami, JMU Selection Committee, Notre Dame. I'm not sure the selection committee is a bowl just yet. But what you guys thought is the rankings. Indiana, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Bama, Tulane, JMU. That's what you guys thought would be the 12. Obviously, we'll see if the committee has other ideas. I should also note, and which game do you want Rob to get you on the call for? Appreciate you, man, as always. I should also note, again, those are what you guys thought the rankings should be. We won't know the bracket until 12:20. I should also note, the AP poll came out. Now, obviously, the AP poll is different than the committee. 2 different voting bodies. However, if you look at the AP poll, this is what they said. So the AP poll came out. I will show you what the AP poll had. No surprises, Indiana is unanimously the number 1 team. We assume they'll be number 1 going in. And they'll be going to Pasadena. They had Georgia, Ohio State only separated by 12 points between the 2 and the 3. So we don't know who the 2 is or the 3 is. It's going to be close. Separated by very few. Rob with another tour. Bears, current format. Yep, ACC. BYU, Bama, big time. And then DeBoer. Yeah, DeBoer, big time there after last night. Negative rushing yards? I mean, come on. Not crossing the 45 until 3 minutes, until the third quarter. Crazy. Crazy on that one. Appreciate you, Rob, as always. So this is what the AP poll had. This is what the AP poll had. Again, different voting bodies. Georgia, Ohio State, no separation between the 2. We don't know who the 2, we don't know who the 3 is going to be. Tech, we assume will stay the 4. They just won the Big 12 by a lot over BYU. Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma. Again, we assume everyone above this line is in. We assume. No, I'm going on that horizon. It's not too much. But I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll move it over. But we assume everyone above this line is in. This is where it gets interesting. Tulane is the 11. JMU is ranked inside the top 20. Duke, even after that win, receiving votes, but well below JMU. Well below. JMU about 500 votes. Duke, 18. Again, we went in thinking a 99% chance that JMU gets the 12 seed over Duke. We went in going with that. We assume that's going to happen. But here is where it gets interesting. Jermaine with the 2, what do you think will be the biggest snub? I think it's going to be Miami. I think Miami will be the biggest snub. I think it's going to be Bama's the 10, Notre Dame is the 9. Which game do you want, Jermaine? I appreciate you a ton. But here's the interesting thing. You look at the AP poll. Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama. 120 points separate them. 2 of them will get in, we assume. 1 is out. And if it was based on the AP poll, Bama would be out. Next section with the 3 because they won the conference. I don't hate it, but I think the fact that game was so close. The fact that it was so close, crazy. Yeah, Kirk Herbstreit has no voice. Not surprised. I have no voice after that. I have no voice. But if we're going off the AP poll that came out today, Alabama would be out. Miami gets in to make sure there's no interconference games in the first round. I don't think they're going to look at that. I think they'll avoid rematches if at all possible. Like, I think Ole Miss is the 6, Tulane is the 11. I think they'll flip-flop A&M and Mississippi because of that, because I don't want to see an Ole Miss-Tulane rematch. But just because they're in the same conference, you can still play in round one. It's not like college basketball, especially with these mega conferences. Like, Alabama did not play. I mean, they played Oklahoma, but they did not play Ole Miss. They did not play A&M this year. How's it going? Appreciate you, man. You're more voice of Kirk. This sounds bad. Oh, boy. Ole Miss is not getting subbed. That would be awful. They got subbed. I'm also FSU. Miami beat FSU. Miami beat Notre Dame. Yeah. Look, I think Miami should be in. Believe me. If it were up to me, Miami and Notre Dame get the final 2 spots. If it were up to me, again, Oklahoma's going to be in. I'm just going and assuming that. But, again, the AP poll, the 1700 on the Blue Hurdle, I love it. Notre Dame has won 10 straight games. I think we had to decide, after they lost their first 2 games, whether or not they were a playoff team if they run the table. They ran the table. They did everything they need to do. You look at Notre Dame, they lost 2 games by a combined 4 points. Final drive to Miami with a quarterback that's never started before, and a game against A&M that came down to a 4th down conversion at the very end and won the best games of the season. Since then, they have dominated everyone. They beat a ranked USC team, went on the road to a ranked Pitt team at a time, clobbered them, put a 70 burger on Syracuse, destroyed the Mountain West champion. Arkansas, I believe, was undefeated going into this game. Clobbered them. Notre Dame has done everything they need to do since starting 0-2. Let's go sweat this out. Let's see. How's it going around? Hopefully the show gets to the point more quickly than World Cup draw. Yeah, we assume 12-20. We assume 12-20 it's going to happen. Right, and it won a last second drive. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I think Notre Dame did everything they needed to do. Obviously, after starting 0-2, they did everything they needed to do to get into the field. Is it going to matter? I don't know. At least one fan base is going to be upset today. Oh, multiple fan bases. Yeah, you're a UMass fan? My condolences on that one. My condolences. Every donation also counts toward this thing called You Make the Call. How many decide which game we're calling? The Sun Bowl or the Citrus Bowl? Again, we're going to see at around 12:20. How's it going, Jonathan? Good luck to the Jaguars. Appreciate you, man. Well, fingers crossed. You can't rush from negative yards on the biggest game of the year and expect to get in. Don't crap the bet and lose closely, then you're in. Yep. I think if it was a one-score game, I think Bama, I don't think there'd be much of a debate with Bama. It would come out of Notre Dame, Miami. The problem is that the way you looked, and it's not just that, oh, they were 2-2, my bad on that one. The way you looked against, Auburn. Oh, yeah, I forgot they were, yeah, 2, yeah, my bad on that one. My bad on that one. I thought the Memphis game was after that. My apologies. I thought Memphis game was after that. Yeah, Freeman's really good turning team around from a slow start. Yep, he's been really good at that. The 6-8 Ventures Bowl on the 17th? I don't know, because I am flying out that night. Yeah, Bama dug their own grave. The problem with Bama, yes, they have the 13th game sample size. Duke, it's very unlikely. Duke has 5 losses. I think if you look at Duke, New Killer, if you look at Duke, again, the AP poll is not what determines it. But 5 losses versus a 1 loss to JMU, who lost to Louisville, and it was a tie game in the 4th quarter. Duke, 5 losses, including a loss to a team in the playoff, including a loss on the road to UConn, including some bad performances, 5 versus 1. Duke, 18 votes in the AP poll, JMU, 490. There's a big gap between the two. Again, it's not... Oh, it's all good, Rob. Hopefully the game went well. So did everyone's using SMU argument? They played a close game. Yeah, exactly. It's apples and oranges. SMU had 1 loss going into the game. They were tied with 5 seconds left. Alabama did not cross the 45-yard line until the 4th quarter and had negative rushing yards. Very, very different. It's apples and oranges there. Peter Falk with a 5er. Yes, today, December 7th, 1941. Yep, another can make it to the ceremonies. Yep. 84. Yep, only 12 people are still around. Yep. One of the darkest days in American history. Absolutely on that one, Peter Falk. Which game? Cheese Bowl. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Yep. December 7th, 1941. Fact Factors will have extension 16 next year. Maybe not next year, but I think the year after. I think the year after we're going to go 16. MI was 5-1 against teams with losing records. That includes being dominated by FSU and very close games against SC. Came down to a last-minute drive and Auburn. Yep. They put Russ on NFL Today. Yes, they did. Yep, and Jameis Winston's on NFL on Fox. Only teams that hang with Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas. At least based on based on what they played. Obviously, I think Tech can hang with them with that defense. Georgia can hang with them. But based on what we saw this in terms of the schedule, yeah, Duke has 5 losses. Do we now reward Duke for avenging that Virginia defeat? No, because they also lost 4 other games. Even if you get rid of the Virginia defeat, they lost 4 other games, including a 24-point loss against Illinois on their home field. Keep in mind, Illinois, team that obviously will not make the playoff. Illinois is a team that lost by 3 scores to Wisconsin, lost by 53 points to a team that's in the field right now, lost by 3 possessions to another team that's in the field, and Duke lost by 3 scores to Illinois. They have no shot. I'd be very shocked. I'll put it that way. 99% chance that JMU gets the spot. But the question is, does JMU overtake Tulane? I highly doubt that. I think JMU's the 12, Tulane's the 11. Your bracket is Indiana, Georgia Tech, Ohio State, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma, Miami, Notre Dame, Tulane, JMU. We'll see. We will see. Montana State, I mean, right now, they're the favorite in the FCS after the loss by North Dakota State in that shocking defeat. Yeah, case closed. We will see. Believe me, I think Bama should be out. Am I ever to see famous Jameis than Chef Russ? Well, that's on Fox, then. That's on Fox. Again, if it were up to me, Bama's out. If it were up to me, Notre Dame and Miami are in. But I don't know how they're going to handle the 13th game. JMU has as many Power 4 wins as you and everyone else in the chat has. True, but you also have to remember, is it fair to punish JMU for no one wanting to schedule them? Because it's not like they don't want to play a tough schedule. And also, Washington State, they scheduled that game before the dissolving of the Pac-12. That's a good win against the 500 Washington State team. That was a good game for them. Also, Louisville, I have to remember, yes, I know close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. I know that. But that was a tie game in the fourth quarter. It was a tie game in the fourth quarter against the Louisville team that was the favorite at one point to win the ACC or make the title game at least. I mean, they played very well on the road against a darn good Louisville team. Yeah, Mama thought they were in 2 weeks ago. Yes. Yeah. The NCAA website even said they're in. And obviously that didn't happen. Obviously, we don't know if Notre Dame and Miami are in. Here's what we do know, though. Yesterday was the best case scenario for them. Yesterday, I think we can all agree, if Notre Dame or Miami are going to make the playoff, yesterday was the best case scenario. BYU got blown out. They played 2 games against the top 20 at the time of their game, and they got obliterated in both of them. BYU is not making it. Bama lost by a lot. Yesterday was the perfect scenario for Notre Dame Miami. I'm not saying it's going to work, but that was exactly what they needed to do. Yeah, Iowa State opted out. Not surprised just because of the coaching change. I'm not surprised. Portal coaching change. I get it. And now 2 into the last 4 games, lose to Oklahoma at home, Georgia dominated them, barely being losing Auburn, being FCS team. Yeah, no, believe me, I'm not impressed by Bama. Simpson's getting worse. If Jimmy gets blown in the first round, Power 4 teams will throw fit. Yep. I mean, the ACC is going to change their system after this. ACC is 100% going to change their system after this to make it so that if there's a tie, it's going to come down to the rankings. See to me with the 5. Appreciate you, man. How's it going, Charles? I appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, Jamie played a good Richard Agency, went 6-6 versus starting 2-6. Yep. Yeah, they bounced back nicely. Duke deserves to make it over Miami. Miami deserves to make it over Notre Dame. Notre Dame deserves to make it over Duke. The circle of life. There you go. Again, vote in that poll. Does Bama make the playoff? We will have the rankings again, probably around 12:20. I know how these shows work, usually around 12:20, 12:25. Again, the first part of the show is just reporters talking about what their chances are and whatnot, and all that fun stuff. So, we assume based on the AP poll, Indiana will be number 1. We all know that. I don't think there's any surprises. In fact, I know the rankings have not been revealed, but I'm just going to go ahead and pencil it in. And if I'm wrong, you can do whatever you want to me. If I'm wrong, criticize me all you want. I'm just going to pencil in Indiana as the 1 in the Rose Bowl. My shirts are start on time. I mean, they do. Again, it's not going to be like the World Cup draw. We know how this always works. We know how this works. Yeah, Jamie doesn't make a rewarding the ACC for missing the tiebreaker. Yes, you are. Apparently between Auburn, Mississippi State, and UCF for who replaced Ohio State. Yep, the 5 and 7 APR teams. Yep. 16-team play with 4 plans. I can see that. The more of a job after this season, Tuscaloosa runs them off. Oh, 100%. 100% he's got a job somewhere. Look, Billy Napier got a job. Again, they haven't announced the one yet. I'm assuming it's going to be Indiana at the Rose Bowl. I'm going to take a wild guess on that one, that Indiana gets the one. Your bracket, you have Indiana, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ohio State. Okay, yeah, I think we know the top four. We just don't know the order, but we know the top four. We know the one. Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma, A&M, Notre Dame, Miami, JMU, Tulane. Yeah, that sounds about right to some extent. We'll see. Illinois said the 4 team defeated 1 team in the round 16. Yep, first time NDSU's make it the quarter since 2009. Crazy. Beautiful with the fiver. Even though Jay Billis stormed the committee headquarters, rest all the committee, Duke still won't make the playoff. No, they will not. No, they will not. Poor Kennesaw. Or poor Jay Billis stormed the Tiger. Yep. You know, it's crazy. From the AP poll, Duke and Kennesaw State are not separated by a lot. Actually, Duke and Boise State. I think Boise State actually has a better chance right now than Duke in terms of making the playoff. Boise State's got a better shot. Based on the AP poll, I think Boise's got the better shot. Odds on Power 4, blocking group of 5 for the playoff next year. Slim. I don't think they would go for it. We get you on Tony the Tiger. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you as always, man. And we're going to assume Indiana's the one. They haven't announced anything yet, but they were the unanimous one of the AP poll. They're the unanimous one of the AP poll. They're the only undefeated team. We're going to assume they're going to Pasadena. I'm just going to pencil that in. Everything else, obviously, we have no idea. We know the top 4. We know who the top 4 teams are going to be. Nothing will change there. I don't know the order, but we know 2 through 4 will be Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas Tech. We don't know the order, but Texas Tech won the Big 12, took care of business against BYU. Ohio State, undefeated going into the Big 10 championship, super close loss. They're in the top 4. And then Georgia, they were in the top 4 before. They crushed Alabama, win the SEC with 1 loss. They're going to be in. They're going to be in. Alabama selection today, drum name, more counting duo, yep. Michigan and the Citrus Bowl. You have Indiana Rose, Georgia Sugar, Ohio State Orange, Tech Cotton. That's what I think too. Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, OU, Notre Dame, Miami, Tulane, JMU. That's what you got. We will see. Ex-Virginia Tech coach Brent Pry to be the Hokie CC. That is odd. That I've never seen that before, where a coach becomes the head coach, gets fired, and then comes back the next year in a lower position. I've never seen that. Day one of the 5 with all the straight lost talk. Ohio State should be over Georgia. Georgia lost to Alabama. Ohio State lost to Indiana. Indiana's better than Bama. Yeah, I think Indiana's better than Bama. I'm going to take a wild guess on that one. Which game do you want, Daniel? Appreciate you, man. I'll replace the bowl games with teams after this because obviously we'll know the bowls later tonight. So I'll place the logos. We obviously don't know the teams just yet. We know Michigan's in the Citrus Bowl and ASU's in the Sun Bowl, but we don't know anything else besides that. So just let me know which game you want, Daniel. Appreciate you, man. Fossil Lewis was fired from the head coach of the Giants. I do not believe so. Not immediately after. It's too much of a power struggle. It's way too much of a power struggle for that to happen. No, he went to the Ravens at that point. He went to the Ravens. Oh, no. No, I'm not talking about that, Crazy Dre. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Pry was literally the coach this season. Fossil was the OC back in the day. Fossil was the OC for the Giants like 10 years before he became the head coach. Like he was before, like a few years before he became the head coach. I'm talking about Pry was literally the head coach this season. Why Bulls, why Cal? Yeah, we're doing that game. We're doing that one. If I attend a college bowl game, I'm not. At some point, I got to get to the Fiesta Bowl. We'll see. At some point, I got to go over there. Living in Arizona. Take them back to Dallas and Georgia going to New Orleans? I would think so. And then Ohio State to the Orange Bowl. I would think that's what it's going to be. But again, we will see. We're at a commercial break. Usually after the commercial break, they announce the teams. Again, like I said, you're assuming 12:20 is when the bracket gets revealed. If we're doing Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve. We always do that game. I'm excited for that one. Right, if the Irrelevant Bowl was the thing, yeah. Yeah, the first 8 spots, the last 2 spots are locks. Again, we don't know the seeding, but we assume we know the top 4, just don't know the order of the top 4. 5 through 8, we know who's in. Oklahoma, I have them on the bubble, but they should be a lock. Oklahoma should be in. I'd be very surprised if they're not. Oklahoma, we assume will be the 8. We assume Oregon's the 5. Ole Miss, A&M, I don't know how they're going to order the 2, especially because Tulane probably the 11. You don't want an Ole Miss Tulane rematch. So 6 and 7 is up in the air. 2 through 3 is up in the air. Where's he got the Peace Prize? That's tomorrow. We assume we know 1. We assume we know 4 with Tech. 2 through 3 is up in the air. A favorite ornament on this tree? I do like the Ben Roethlisberger ornament. I got sentimental value to that one because that was like one of the first ones I got. I would sack it in my my old tree. So again, 2 through 3 is going to be up in the air. 6 through 7 is going to be up in the air in terms of the order, but we know the teams. Top 8 should be locked in. Top 4 should be locked in. 11 should be Tulane. 12 should be JMU. Although I will say in the AP poll, there were only about 30 votes between Tulane and JMU. So there might be some things. What are we doing the dummies? Well, that wouldn't be till the end of the season. I see you, Satan. I see you. Right, spots 9, Tarek, they're going to announce it last. Lost yesterday on day? Yeah, for not going for it? Yes, 100%. You go for it for the one that spot. Yep, it just happened to work like that with 6 and 7, yep. Again, Tulane, JMU, we don't know who the 11 and the 12 are. Again, there's not a lot of separation in the AP poll. But we should be getting to the votes right now. Here we go, folks. Let's do this thing. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm not going to look at the chat while the rankings are coming out. Again, it is time. About 12:20 Eastern time. I got my... Okay, wait. Never mind. Hang on. We have a pre-segment before. Hang on. Georgia should be over Ohio State winning the conference championship is a big deal for the committee. Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Georgia over Ohio State. I think it will be. That'll be Dominant's record after today. We will see. We will see. If you like what you see, folks, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, help us out on the channel. Overthrow JG9. Yeah, and no, I'm looking right now because we have it's just a pre-segment. It's a video segment. We're gonna get to it at some point. Yeah, $500,000 fine. Yeah, you have to do that. It's a bad look for the conference, obviously, but I get why they're opting out because of the coaching change. I get that, but we will see. I'm gonna close the poll here. 65% of you think Bama is left out after a 3-loss season where they did not cross the 45-yard line yesterday against Georgia. Which I'm assuming means you think Notre Dame and Miami are in. Pro Sport Titans content. Yeah, I'm looking right now. Once they unveil the first team, I'm not looking. Here we go. We will unveil the rankings. Unveil the rankings. Here we go. Not looking at the chat until the bracket is done. Just so that no spoilers happen, because I'm a bit behind with my cable. So just keep that in mind. Again, we assume we know the 1. We assume we know the 4. 2 through 3, don't know the order. I presume Georgia will be the 2. 6 and 7, we don't know the order, but we assume it's going to be Ole Miss and A&M. 5, Oregon. 8, Oklahoma. 11, we assume Tulane. 12, JMU. 9, 10 is going to be the question mark. Here we go. No surprises. Indiana is number 1. To the shock of absolutely no one, Indiana, undefeated, only team to finish undefeated. What a turnaround that Kurt has had with that program. From the laughingstock of the Big Ten in college football to now make the playoff last year, undefeated this year. First time going to Pasadena since 1967 season. First time winning the Big Ten in forever. It has been a long time coming for the Hoosiers, and they will happily take their place in Pasadena in the Rose Bowl. And now we get to 2 versus 3. Will it be Georgia or Ohio State? We know they will be the 2 and the 3. In all likelihood, we assume Tech will be the 4. Ohio State is the 2. Ohio State is the 2. So not getting punished a lot for losing to Indiana. Georgia will not move up. Georgia is not moving up despite winning the SEC. They figure Ohio State, undefeated going to the Big Ten Championship, be hard to punish them a lot. They will get the number 2 seed as the defending champion. It was a close game. You figure that was a better loss than losing to Bama at home. You figure that is why Ohio State's the 2. We didn't know the order, but Ohio State, despite not winning their conference, is the 2. Surprised a little bit that Georgia's not the 2, but I get it. I completely get it. I completely get it. Again, we assume it will be Georgia as the 3. Assume it will be 3 will be Georgia and 4 Texas Tech. Bit surprised by this in terms of Ohio State being the 2, but Georgia will be the 3. They are not announcing bowl games, oddly enough. They're not announcing bowl games. So I'm just going to get rid of this really quickly. They're not announcing bowls. We assume Ohio State to the orange, Georgia to the sugar, and then I'm just going to assume Texas Tech will be the 4. No reason not to. They were 4 going in. They clobbered BYU. I'm just going to assume that Texas Tech will be the 4, so I'll just plop them in right there. Not announcing bowl games, though. Bit surprised by this. They did last year. They announced the bowl games last year for the top 4. But we assumed Tech will be the 4. And we knew the top 4 going in, just didn't know the order between Ohio State and Georgia. Just didn't know the order, but we know the top 4. It's be a very red top 4, as you could probably tell. Big 12 champion, Texas Tech. Dominant defense, one of the best defenses in the nation. Again, the buys, no surprises. The top 4 we knew going in. If Georgia won, Texas Tech won, Indiana, Ohio State was close. We knew who the top 4 were going to be. This is no surprise whatsoever. So the top 4 are in. Texas Tech got to get a better internet service because that is really, really lagging right now, Texas Tech. That is really lagging. All right, and now we get to the good stuff. To some extent. Again, we presume we know who 5 through 8 are, just don't know the order. We assume Oregon will be the 5. They'll be hosting a game in Eugene. We will see. We assume Oregon will be the 5. But now we get to the first round. These games taking place on the 19th and the 20th. We will be live for all the playoff games. Again, we'll be live for every playoff game. On the 20th, the NFL has 2 games on, Eagles, Commanders, and Bears, Packers. We're going to call both those games at the exact same time as the playoff. So just keep that in mind. This is the place to watch the playoff. Make sure the notification bell and subscribe if you've not done so already. Oregon, they entered at 5. They will stay at 5. No surprises there. A very good season. The one loss they had was to an undefeated Indiana. They have taken care of business against everyone else. A dominant end to the season. I love that backfield. A lot of good people in that backfield, especially the freshmen with Davison and Hill. They got a loaded backfield. Dante Moore projected to be the second quarterback off the board at the NFL draft. A high-flying offense, a very good defense. Oregon the 5, go to Eugene for a playoff game. One of the toughest places to play. Now the 6 or the 7, we assume Ole Miss or A&M. Again, if it's Ole Miss at 6, you might see JMU be the 11. You might see JMU at the 11 if Ole Miss gets the 6 to avoid the Ole Miss-Tulane rematch from earlier this season where Ole Miss clobbered Tulane by a final score of 45-10. They might avoid that. Okay, Ole Miss is the 6. Whoa, okay. So do they change Tulane and JMU? Again, we know Tulane is going to be in the playoff. We know that. Is Tulane going to be the 12? Do they want the rematch in round 1? You don't really like rematches in round 1. But do you want a rematch of a game that was a 35-point game? A bloodbath the last time. Obviously, different situation now. So the fact that obviously Ole Miss does not have Lane Kiffin anymore. But Ole Miss is the 6. Might mean JMU jumps to the 11. I should note in the AP poll, Tulane and JMU only separated by 31 votes. It was not a lot. Not a lot of votes separating them. So just keep that in mind. JMU might be the 11 now. They might leapfrog with 1 loss over Tulane with 2 losses. A&M as the 7th seed. We assume that 6 and 7 will be Ole Miss and A&M. Didn't know the order. A&M is the 7th seed. Obviously, not the way that they wanted to end the season. Thought you were going to go into the SEC Championship undefeated, get a top 4 seed, then you lose at home to the Longhorns. Marcel Reed did not look good in the 4th quarter. That one lost by 10. Having said that, Texas A&M, a great season in the playoff. Started off 11-0, the best comeback of the season, down by 27 points at the half against South Carolina, and somehow won that game to keep their undefeated season alive. We assume Oklahoma will be the 8. We assume Norman will be hosting a game. It will be Oklahoma. They were at 8 before. They stay at 8. Very tough schedule. Now, granted, Oklahoma, it has not been the prettiest season for the Sooners by any means, but Venables going to the playoff after winning 4 straight games. They had their backs against the wall, and they went on the road to Knoxville to beat Tennessee, went on the road to Tuscaloosa, beat Alabama, beat a ranked Missouri team. They have won 5 games this season against ranked opponents at the time. And after beating LSU, granted, it was not the prettiest game with a backup quarterback in there. But again, we figured they were all going in. We figured we knew the top 8. Didn't know the order of 2, 3, and 6, 7. But we figured we know the top 8. And here we go. Now we wait. They're going to put us on a cliffhanger. We assume it's going to be Alabama, Notre Dame, Miami as the 3 teams fighting for 2 spots. BYU was below all 3 of them in the AP poll. BYU, we figure, is out. I don't think there's a chance for BYU to get in. But we will see. Here we go. Here we go. Moment of truth. Number 9. Alabama is staying in. They'll get the rematch against Oklahoma. Now, Bama lost to Oklahoma last time in Tuscaloosa, but they will make it in and play the rematch in Norman. They did not get penalized at all. They stay at 9. Now, again, based on the rankings, Notre Dame was ahead of Miami in the rankings in the last playoff ranking. So Bama's in. They did not play well in the slightest bit. 3 losses and 2 awfully close games coming down to the wire against below 500 teams. A loss to a below 500 FSU. A bad game against Georgia where they did not play well. But Bama does not get punished. They will be the 9. And now we get it. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of debate about this one in the chat. I'm sure there's going to be a lot about this one. So they set the precedent. Conference championships don't matter if you lose them. They said with SMU last year, granted it was a 1-score game, apples and oranges, but Alabama, they clearly set the precedent. You can crap the bed in a conference championship. The 13th game does not matter. It can only help you, it can't hurt you. They set the precedent. And again, BYU, they were outside the top 10 to begin with, so it's a little bit different there. All right, here we go. For the at-large to take on A&M. Miami! The ACC will get in. The ACC will get in. They will get a team. Notre Dame, 10 straight wins to end the season. They were ranked ahead of Miami going into the week. Notre Dame has dropped 2 spots in the last 2 weeks despite outscoring their opponents 119 to 27. Notre Dame is out. Man. Wow. 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 The ESPN announcers are talking about Notre Dame getting snubbed, and I don't blame them. Again, Notre Dame, the resume has not changed. Has not changed at all. They were 0-2. We had to decide back after the loss to A&M. We had to decide after that loss to A&M whether this team deserved to make the playoff if they ran the table. And the committee thought they deserved it until the final day when nothing changed. The way it happened. Again, if you want to keep Notre Dame out, that's one thing. If you want to keep Notre Dame out, that is one thing. But why would they be in the top 10 all season and move out at the last second after outscoring their final 2 opponents 119 to 27? Notre Dame just got hosed. Not over Miami. Miami deserves it. Believe me, Miami deserves it. But the precedent is bizarre here. I'm not talking about Miami, I'm talking about Alabama. I want to make it very clear. Miami deserves it. Head-to-head, Miami won the game. They've had a great season. Tulane will be the 11. We get the rematch against Ole Miss. It was a 35-point bloodbath last time these teams played. We will see what the rematch is like. We'll see if Tulane can do more against Ole Miss and get revenge after a 35-point loss last time. We presume the 12 will be JMU. I will put a poll up. Did Notre Dame get snubbed? I'll put the poll up. Again, I think Miami deserved it. Miami, I think, deserved a spot. But I don't get the logic with Notre Dame. I don't get the logic. Again, this is going to come down right now to, we assume James Madison. We assume it will be James Madison. It will be James Madison. 2 group of 5 teams in the playoff. Duke out. ACC gets a team in as an at-large. Second straight year, the last spot is an ACC at-large. JMU is in. A great season. Won the Sun Belt title by 3 scores. Took care of business. Needed to do that against Troy, and they did. Only lost all season on the road to Louisville in a tie game in the 4th quarter. So JMU will travel across the country and take on the Ducks. And we assume the first 2 out, not that it matters. Notre Dame will be the first one out, we assume. And then I would assume Texas or BYU will be the next one out. Notre Dame first one out, no surprises. But man, I don't get it. Joshua, the 2 where Notre Dame should stay bowl season. I don't think they're going to, but man, that is rough. And BYU is the next one out. And which game do you want, Joshua? Appreciate you, man. So, I mean, the fact that BYU is the second one out shows what the precedent is. It shows exactly what the precedent is. Conference championships mean nothing if you lose. That's the precedent. That's the precedent. Conference championships mean nothing. Yeah, Virginia's going to be kicking themselves. Yep. That's the precedent. Yeah, I don't like the rematches. I don't like it. Has to be stripped this hard? It's the committee. You want Jesus? Get you on Jesus. Appreciate you, man. All right. Now at this point, let's talk about this. We'll stay on for another 15 minutes and talk about this. We don't know the times of the games, don't know the bowl games that the 4 seeds are playing in, but wow, Notre Dame is to join a conference. Well, I think what we saw with this is that if you look at the final 8, you look at the final rankings. Yeah, Bragg was almost 5 Oregon at 6. Yeah, that's pretty good. What got a race from Miami? All the Waz. All the Waz got a race. The only place in Bama, I tell you. No, not really. My issue is Bama Notre Dame. I'm with you on that one. I'm with you. But I mean, look, conference tournaments are mad than why play them. They can help you. They can't hurt you. I think that's what they looked at. It was going to be controversial, and it was. Again, if you look at the rankings, why did BYU drop out the others? They didn't drop. So BYU did not drop. So here's the thing. BYU did not drop. This was the top 12 going in. Obviously, top 10. BYU was always on the outside. Pretty safe before winning something, yep. Right, unless you win. Right, they don't matter unless you win, yep. Oklahoma or some other teams, yeah. Well, I get that. Precedent, the SEC is the best, and all disagree. Are heathens, long live the mouse. Talk about span of 14-2 playing games? Yes, there should be. So look, BYU was always on the outside because it's the 10 line. Because then obviously you got Tulane, JMU. This was the last ranking. BYU was out. They had to win, otherwise they're going to stay out. Now the question is, Notre Dame was in the top 10. Notre Dame was in the top 10. They were above the line. They were 9 in week 14. They were 9 in week 13. They were 9 in week 12. Have a call for Notre Dame to join a conference? No, I don't think so. They were inside the top 10 this entire time. For helmet not hurt is a good thing. I get it. But here's my problem. We had to decide back in week 2 or week 3 after they lost to A&M and started 0-2. If Notre Dame runs the table, are they a playoff team? We need to decide that right away. We need to decide that right away. And the committee decided right away they are. They put them in the top 10 on the first AP poll. They put them 9 in the next ranking poll in week 12. Week 13, they put them in the top 10. Week 14, they put them in the top 10. Week 15, they put them in the top 10. And then after all that, they take them out. The consistency is appalling. Down with a 5, I appreciate you, man. So to be top 10 to playing conference games, they're good to go. I just forget my man because their name for weeks we don't have them. Yeah, that's the question. Are they more than around the table? They dominated. That's the concern. That's the concern. Then John's for the 5, I appreciate you, man. I have put Bama over Miami, not over Notre Dame, though. Yeah, no, believe me. This is not about Miami. I want to make that very clear. This is not about Miami. Miami, 100%. I have no problem with them being in the field. I want to make it very clear. This is not a knock on Miami whatsoever. Miami 100% deserves to be in the field. They have the head-to-head over Notre Dame. They played 2 losses and lost awfully close. They probably, again, we can't do hypotheticals, so they probably would have won the ACC if they were allowed in because of the tiebreaker system. They did what they needed to do. They played 4 ranked teams, beat them all. This is not about Miami. Well, you put Bama on Miami. No, that makes sense. You lost last side and said, yeah, Miami should be here. Yeah, maybe. Conference mean nothing. Why do they rank Indiana number 1 for Ohio State? No, I mean, they can't hurt you. They can only help you. Then when they two, how Bama got over Vandy? Oh, that's not surprising. They go in saying, look, Alabama had 2 losses in regular season play, and Vandy had 2 in regular season play, and Bama got the head-to-head. Kansas State got robbed. I mean, they had a heck of a season with Jerry Mack. They had a heck of a season. Right, you only need something for the winner. Only need something for the winner. Which game do you want, Ben? I appreciate you a ton on that one. Which game do you want? I will get you on the call for it. You know what needs to join conference? I don't think they need to join conference. Allow them because of tiebreaker and the Lasky game and OTK now the AC title game. That's what's BS. Yeah, there's no consistency. I think that's the problem. There's no consistency with this. That's the issue. Is that we decided back in this entire season, the committee decided Notre Dame, if they run the table, is a playoff team. We decided that. Going in. We decided that going in, that Notre Dame was a playoff team. Crimson Tide made the playoff, Santiago. You know, Texas, yeah. I get you, JP. Yeah, Crimson Tide made it in. They're the 9 seed. They're the 9. This is the bracket. This is the bracket. We don't know the Bulls yet. Committee over final rankings does make a lot more sense. Yep. This was the blown legal touching last time was crazy. Yes. 100%. Or the blown illegal contact out of bounds. But again, the consistency makes no sense here. Rest ranks haven't announced it yet. Not that it matters. Plays JMU, Kennesaw now. Kennesaw has 3 losses. JMU has 1. Kennesaw did not look good against Indiana. You'll take Cheeseable? All right, get you on Cheeseable. Please, Kennesaw State. Look, I think Kennesaw had a great season. My personal opinion, I think Bama should be out. Both Notre Dame and Miami should be in. Yep, that's me too. That's me. One of Kennesaw making about a 10 to Oklahoma does. 2 different spots. Kennesaw's fighting for a conference champion spot. Oklahoma's fighting for an at-large spot. All right, Virginia Wallace, I think you may get some of Wednesday's team in there. Yep. Can we just put teams in who they won and spit out justification? Yeah. Something strength of victory matters, something strength of loss matters. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. No one knows anything at this point. No one knows anything at this point. Again, my concern with Notre Dame is that you ranked them in the top 10 all season. And then you take them out after what? You took them out after beating their last 2 opponents, 119 to 27? We had to decide back in week 2. For conference championships, I think the precedent between SMU last year, now granted, that was a close game, and Bama this year, which was not a close game, the precedent the committee is clearly set. Conference championships, if you lose, do not matter. Have a Carol Collins start day tomorrow, so it can be a long day of rehearsal, watch your events. All good. Appreciate you, man. So conference championships matter if you win. They don't matter if you lose. The 13th game, they won't punish you for a 13th game. The president of the top power 14 in each conference or rank conference champion consent? Yep, I think so. Yeah, independent teams just schedule the top 10 teams, lose them all, and then 7 best losses. Yeah. This is just, it's bizarre right now. It's very bizarre. Notre Dame lost 2 games all season by a combined 4 points at the beginning of the season. They then won 10 straight, blowing out their opponents. The closest game was 15 points. The closest game was 10 points. My apologies. 2 of the games were 2 scores. The rest were 3+ scores. Nothing was within 1 score. And Notre Dame left out after being in the top 10 all season. The consistency just doesn't make sense. We only help, not hurt. Yep. Right, Texas 4-0 against FCS. Yep. That's, yeah, if they can get you in, they should get you out too. Yep. The drop is spot there for lose to lose. SC doesn't matter. Losing a conference championship does matter. But to be fair to BYU, they were out before. To be fair to BYU, they were out beforehand because they were outside the top 10 before. So, doesn't matter. Like, in that regard, it's a little bit different. Right, the only full conference championship JMU would have been cut. Yes, so Notre Dame would have made it. 100%. Oh, we all know that. Yes. 100%. Name should be in. I don't feel bad. I get you. Duke win last time, eliminated Notre Dame. College football flag wasn't limited to the ACC, especially since they're partners with ESPN. Miami should handle their business. Yeah. Made it in. Bama made it in. We get 2 rematches. Bama, Oklahoma. Tulane, Ole Miss. We get the rematches. Look at the rate pool now. Ooh. Better than Idaho. Better than going to Potato Bowl. Just the consistency is what's killing me with this. Why would you put them in? So to not schedule non-Power 4 teams ever again? No, I don't think so. Right. 2 rematches, I hate that. They could have avoided that too. Could have easily avoided that. They could have flip-flopped Alabama and Miami. They could have flip-flopped Tulane and JMU. Or Ole Miss and A&M. Flip-flopped those two, but they didn't. Oklahoma and Bama, I'm fine with that rematch. Because it was a close one. I don't like the Ole Miss Tulane rematch. You have a common championship game to make the regular season 13 as an extra conference game for all teams. Yeah. I don't hate that idea. Seen a lot of hate on Ohio State as an Ohio State fan. Do I want to ask why? I don't know. You know, it was a good game. Look, it was undefeated against undefeated. It was a great game. Chancellor brackets can be looked at during the offseason. Oh, very much. High. Big Ten Champ Boy plays Rose Bowl. For the most part. It's not guaranteed, but for the most part. I watch college basketball more than college football, and this is the whole rankings thing's domination. In basketball, yells top 25 team, yeah. Against some arguments out. Excellent example, SC Bites at work, yep. Right, Tulane will do better with no Kevin, I guess. You have 35 points better? Ugh. Right, it's because Alabama, if it was any other team, they would not matter, yeah. Just why would... Look, if Notre Dame was out the entire time, it's a whole different story. If Notre Dame was outside the top 10 this entire time, no issues. No issues with that. Again, I get keeping Notre Dame out. Just the way they went about it is so messed up. Yes, we'll do it all the playoff games. The way they went about it, if you want to say, look, they played 2 teams ranked inside the top 16 at the time. 2 good teams, they lost both of them, including 1 at home. If you want to say that, and then yes, they beat the Mountain West champion, but outside of that, they didn't really beat anyone that we'd rank in our top 25 outside of USC, who's been very ebb and flow, and they can't win the big one under Lincoln Riley. I get it. Believe me, I get it. Just don't put him in the top 10 this entire season and then take him out at the last second. They let him drop. All good, man. Play Jamie say that kind of chance the first time can be tough. Can be very tough. I would probably say no, but you never know. Really, really excited to say give them a jersey to coach. They go and persuade them to include Notre Dame. Yep. Right, Notre Dame inclines a bit. If that happens, the Bulls outside college will play for dead. Yeah. Again, I agree with you, JJ. I agree with you. The best thing to be is USC at home. I get it. They beat in one team that's currently inside the top 25. It was USC at home. Believe me, if you want to say Notre Dame should not be in, I get it. But we needed to decide that back in week 3. Not now. We needed to decide that after they lost their first 2 games. Not put them in the top 10 this entire time and then take them out at the last second. How long do you make serve? They can serve as long as they want, I think. Yeah, do well, baby. Hopefully in 11 minutes we get the dub. You guess about the committee. Yep. Keeping DeBoer cool. Yes, they are. Our playoff spot, a common championship have to be ranked in top 15. Though Tulane would probably be top 15. But then they'd also keep them out. They would keep them out. They would intentionally skew the rankings so they don't get top 15. Next non-football sporting event live stream. We're doing an overtime stream Monday before the game, and then Tuesday we'll be live for college basketball. No, Tuesday we're live for hockey. CBR PB22, I think committee. I think college football committee. Right now, I mean Navy 2, yes. They're not ranked in the top 20, though. They're not ranked in the top 20. Yeah, next non-football sporting event live stream for like a sporting event is Tuesday. We're doing hockey. Jets against the Stars. Right, allowing BYU if they were top 10. Yeah, but they weren't top 10 before. BYU was not in the top 10 before. Take Vandy over Notre Dame. You're right, they never should have been that high. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. If you want to keep Notre Dame out, I'm fine with that. I'm more than okay with that. Televised the committee hearings, yes, they should. Oh, yeah, point system like NHL, yeah. Believe me, that's the moral of the story here. If you want to keep them out, keep them out. No issues. Look, they played 2 teams in the playoff. It was close, but they didn't get it done. But then make up your mind back in September. Because I said back in the day, we have to decide right here and now, if Notre Dame runs to the table, are they a playoff team? Regionals have anything to do with me putting Miami in? To some extent. I think so. I think to some extent it does. %68% think they got it wrong and that Notre Dame got snubbed. I'm sorry, Blue Hurler, nice. Blue Hurler. Yeah, fluff formulas with no formula just involves a hodgepodge of guesswork. Yep. With you on that one. With you there. I know I tweeted it out a while ago. I'm trying to find the tweet, but I did say back in the day, divorce to become ice against his man? No, not at all. Not at all. A lot of angry face in South Bend. Yes, there are. Yes, there are. And now you wonder, too, does the AC change their system? Because Miami got in. Does the AC change their system? I don't know anymore. I think they do, but now that Miami's in, yeah, I knew what the committee was going to do and still take me off. What's Steph think of the decision? What is Steph think of the decision? She is probably... Probably upset that no teams from Pennsylvania made it, where Taylor's from, or for that no team from Tennessee made it. Upset that no team from Tennessee made it. Yeah, that's the problem. And again, like I said, and we'll sign off in a little bit. Like I said, you want to keep Notre Dame out because they lost their first 2 games against ranked teams and didn't really play a great schedule after that. I know they beat the Mountain West champion Boise, but that was at home. USC, they beat them, but that was at home. They really don't have great wins compared to some of the other teams, like Alabama, or even Miami. Again, Miami won head-to-head. So, if you want to keep them out, keep them out. But the way they did it, just... They deserve more than Bama. I mean, Bama did win the head-to-head over Vandy, though. And we're deciding, we decided head-to-head means something with Miami or Notre Dame. At least this season it means something. Just bizarre. Bizarre. And again, this was the final ranking. Ohio State, Georgia. I would put Georgia over Ohio State. Just for the 5 or Duke had 6-2 record and won the AC championship and beat a ranked Virginia team. How did that not get you in? Because they had 5 losses. That's how. They had 5 losses. James Madison only had 1. They also lost by a lot to Illinois. Lost by 3 scores on their home field to Illinois. And they lost to UConn. Now UConn's a bad team. So the Tiger game? Yes. I had it on one of them. I don't think I had it on this one. Yeah, I didn't have it on that one. Mike Chris signing to play OU in the playoff. Yep, rematch. Rematch there. I appreciate you a ton, Justin, on that one. Appreciate you, man. I'll add the bonus as well. Okay, so here's the deal. We're going to sign off here. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. The AC tiebreak rules affected the bracket. Yes, they did. We're going to sign off here. I'm going to be live for Sunday Night Football tonight at 8 o'clock. We'll talk about it more during Sunday Night Football. Enjoy the NFL games. I'm going to tune into Jaguars Colts. See you at 8 o'clock for Chiefs Texans. Again, there's your bracket. Notre Dame out after 10 straight wins. Indiana the 1. Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, JMU, Ole Miss, Tulane, A&M, Miami, Oklahoma, Alabama. And remember, we are live for all the playoff games, plus bowl games. We're going to be doing a lot of bowl games on this channel. A lot of bowl games. Army-Navy this Saturday. We'll be live for that as well. We'll do the LA Bowl this Saturday also. We'll be live for a lot on this channel. So make sure that like button, subscribe. Helps us out a ton on the channel. We're trying to grow this community even more. Try to get 70K by the end of the year. We will see if we can do that. But yeah, enjoy the NFL games unless you're a Colts fan, in which case I hope you lose by 50. I will see you guys tonight. And remember, for 16 months, biggest comment side for nothing, going to go nuclear. I would not have any AC team in. Wow. Yeah, no, I think the AC would have died if that happened. It would have been tough. So appreciate all you guys tuning in. Why Miami getting their Notre Dame? Because Miami won head-to-head. That's why. Appreciate you guys being here. JJ9 signing off. I'll see you guys in just a little bit, in 7 hours, for Chiefs Texans. Enjoy.